Welcome back from the south. We go very quickly to Caracas live because we have beautiful images of the citizens rallying to support the presidency, the candidacy for the president of Nicolás Maduro as he arrived before the National Electoral Council to formalize his presidential candidacy ahead of the July 28th election. The images we're seeing live is of the president arriving at the headquarters of the National Electoral Authorities, as he ready himself to formalize his presidential candidacy. This has been a process of registration of candidates that has been taking place since last Thursday, and over the weekend, different opposition candidates have come before the National Electoral Council to submit their presidential candidacies. These are the live images we're getting from Caracas as President Nicolás Maduro does the same process and officializes his candidacy, a process that has been supported by the biggest political force of the nation, the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, and the Grand Patriotic Pole, which is comprised by different political forces and social movements that have today rallied from the early hours of the day from different areas of the country all the way to Caracas to come and accompany President Nicolás Maduro to show their support and their belief, to say that they stand by the president to support him in his candidacy for president in the upcoming July 28th elections. The United Socialist Party of Venezuela, together with the Great Patriotic Pole and social movements, are rallying, as we have been saying this Monday, as we are seeing the images. They have come together here at the National Electoral Council to support the President Nicolás Maduro, to accompany him in the registration process for the elections of July 28th. Earlier, through different publications on his X account, the head of government of the Capital District, Nahum Fernandez, said that the mobilization started from 2 points in Caracas, the vicinity of Canteve on Liberator Avenue, and the rental zone of Plaza Venezuela. Fernandez added that they would give a great and historic example to the people of Caracas, because they know that the only one who can lead this country, Venezuela, and guarantee a dignified future is Nicolás Maduro. That's why they are accompanying him today in his registration as a candidate for the 2024 presidential elections. Also, in this sense, the Vice President of Mobilizations and Events of the Red Tolda announced that the decision of this mobilization that has taken place today to accompany President Nicolás Maduro was taken by the grassroots of the PSUV in an assembly that was held late last Saturday, and it was chaired by the Vice President of Regional Affairs of the party, Carmen Melendez. Members of the Socialist Party of Venezuela, social movement, youth, everyone from all sectors and walks of life travel from different areas of the country, all over the country, to arrive here in Caracas to be at the site of President Nicolás Maduro as he formalizes his candidacy for the upcoming presidential elections to be held on July 28th. We should note that other candidates have registered during the weekend from the different opposition parties. For example, the first candidate to present himself at the National Electoral Council to formalize their candidacy was Luis Eduardo Martinez, who was a former governor of Monagas State by the end of the 20th century and comes with the backing of Acción Democrática. Daniel Ceballos has also registered his candidacy, a former mayor of San Cristobal, and he comes from the party of Voluntad Popular. Antonio Acarri, leader of the Pencil Alliance, has the backing of other political organizations such as Avanzada Progresista, and also registered his candidacy for the upcoming presidential elections. Juan Carlos Alvarado of the Christian Democratic Party, COPEI, Deputy Jose Brito of the 2020 National Assembly, is another of the candidates for the first Venezuela party. The comedian and lawyer Benjamin Rausseau also presented his candidacy before the CNE with his party name Conde. This was done yesterday, Sunday, where he called for the campaign to be free of slander campaigns, to be honest, where solutions are presented. Another legislator of the National Assembly of 2020 who nominated his party, El Cambio, was Javier Bertucci of the Christian Current, and politician Luis Ratti also presented his candidacy for the Popular Democratic Right. These are images that we're getting live from Caracas. as citizens have come out to the streets today to support President Nicolás Maduro. And we are seeing the images from within the National Electoral Council as the president is getting ready to officialize his candidacy for the upcoming elections. Different images of different social groups, organizations, and we are seeing, now we are hearing words from the president of the National Electoral Council. Let's listen.
I will want to welcome to every single one of you, to every single one of the candidates today that are being here in the National Electoral Council. We welcome to the citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, to his wife, to his children that are here in the National Electoral Council, also to the representative of the party, of the United Socialist Party, which is presenting today, to the citizen Nicolás Maduro in front of the National Electoral Council, where we deeply feel in proudness of all Venezuelans to have the best electoral system in the world, being recognized for every single representative that we have here in our country. We welcome in the names of every representative of the council to the vice president of the National Electoral Council, to Dr. Rosalba Gil Pacheco, Dr. Agmen Nogal Méndez, Dr. Juan Carlos del Pino, Dr. Leonel Párica, Dr. Conrado Pérez, and Dr. Gustavo Pérez Vizcaíno, Dr. Ana Julia Niño, Dr. Aura Rosa Hernández, Dr. Antonieta de Stefano, Dr. Fabio Sabarce, Dr. Antonio Meneses, General Secretary of the General Electoral Council, Dr. Manuel Istauriza, law consultor from the National Electoral Council, Dr. Nelvis Alayon, General Director of the National Electoral Council. Both of them, high-level representative, are the ones that take care of, review every single one of the candidacy proposal for the presidential elections of the Republic. They're thoughtfully reviewing all the requirements today to verify that if it's truly fulfill all the requirements to be a candidate to be the President of the Republic. Also, the Dr. Isabel Reyes, the Secretary of the Board, which is the internal organism of the National Electoral Council, and is the one that takes care of all of the development of the process, of the electoral process until the next 8th of July. And then there is a lot of work with high-level representative of the National Electoral Council here today, asking back all this machinery from the high mountains and every point of the country in this National Electoral Council. It's a teamwork with all the technical equipment to bring all this procedure. We greet also to this organization with political outcome, and we wish the best of luck and success to every single one of you representing the political party, and to you, candidate. So I did with every single one of the candidates, fulfilling and in compliance with the Constitution of the country, with the political power laws in the Electoral Council, and we want to point that the Bolivarian Republic Constitution says that every single 6 years there must exist the presidential elections. 6 years ago, it was said like that, and the 6 years are being fulfilled this year, 2024. So that's where we're summoning the ones who aspire to be in the presidency of the Republic can express themselves, and if they fulfill the requirements, they will be stand by the political electoral power.
A continuación, daremos inicio al proceso de postulación del candidato ciudadano.
So now we're going to introduce the presidential elections to Nicolás Maduro Moros to the position of the President of the Republic before the Electoral National Council. Standing by the United Socialist Party, the citizen Diosdado Cabello Rondón, the first vice president of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, is proceeding to submit the form for their candidacy of Nicolás Maduro Moros to the president election of July 28. This form is being limited by the National Electoral Council. It's a very easy process that every single political organization had to fill out in order to present to the candidacy in front of the National Electoral Council to fulfill the requirements, legal requirements. At least 40 organizations with political ends I had to present the candidacy for the elections to be held on next July 28. The requirements are being fulfilled. The requirements of the electoral legal has been approved and has been running the candidacy of Nicolás Maduro by the United Socialist Party of Venezuela. All the requirements have been fulfilled. So now it's greeting to the Directive Board of the National Electoral Council by Dr. Elvisa Moroso and the other representative of the National Electoral Council after fulfilled the requirements established by the organ. Good afternoon to everyone present here, representatives of the National Electoral Council, but most of all, a greeting to those who are standing outside waiting to the candidate of the Homeland's Law. I want to greet to the citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros, the candidate by the United Socialist Party of Venezuela from the big political coalition historical of Venezuela. All the political parties of the big patriotic bloc supporting to Nicolás Maduro Moros with the Socialist Party of Venezuela. The country knows that the streets of Venezuela, more than 317,000 assemblies where the people said the reasons why the Nicolás Maduro should be the president. Now it's being approved and making a tribute to the base of our political party to run our brother president Nicolás Maduro before the National Electoral Council, an organism that every single time that an electoral process needs to be held, it proves with facts the quality of its work. Every single one of their workers make a fight to make the things properly, so the world knows that these elections of the July 28th, they're going to be made in the best electoral organism of a big part of the world, not to say the best So I want to end this date of inscription with this beautiful activity to find our people with the joy that is proper to the with the love for the homeland that is a characteristic of the Chavist people. So here we are, thanks to Chavez, thanks to the eternal commander, the one who led the path by the peace and that gave us the revolution to keep on building the future that belongs to every single one of us. With the wider criteria on a government making stronger a Venezuela through all the attacks. So we're going to get the economical recovery in total way. So it will get to every single one of the. So Mr. President Nicolás Maduro, candidates of the Venezuela, Dr. Hermeno Mendez, main director, Dr. Juan Carlos del Pino, main director, directors and the studio, representative workers of the National Electoral Council, Comrade Diosdado Cabello Rondón, with the national direction of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, from the youth of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, to the 10 parties of the bloc, the Great Patriotic Bloc of Venezuela, Electoral People's Movement, Homeland for All's, Popular Unity of Venezuela, UPV, Revolutionary Movement of Tupanaro, Podemos Movement of Venezuela, Alianza para el Cambio, Alliance for the Change, APC, Renewal Organization, We Are Venezuela, Green Party, and a very thoughtful greeting to the recently born, the Movement for the Future, the big block of volunteers for the future and all of his work team. I wanted to bring my words in by writing, and I was yesterday finding inspiration in more than 317 minutes written by hand by humble women and men, almost 5 million of women and men of this land raised their minutes and gave their reasons, their strength, their truth. During the name of this man from Caracas, the barefoot man, the neighborhood man, this humble laborer as a candidate from the Republic presidency, seeking inspiration. I'm giving these words from my heart from the day that the assembly started in the streets and the communities. You will see the United Socialist Party of Venezuela to decide who is running for the presidential elections, passing through every single one of the democratic process, from the 10 movement of the big political bloc and the big volunteers movement of Venezuela, future movement. I dedicate myself to hear very carefully the reasons and the arguments and the analysis of the perspective of every single one of you, from every activist, from every militant, from every volunteer, how every single one of you was telling our story, and it was valuing the human essence of our struggle. I was touched for so much generosity and acknowledgement for the people, to this humble man from the Caracas neighborhoods, to this humble Labrador. And most of all, I was so honored with that so much consciousness and historical feeling of our people of Venezuela. Almost 5 millions from leaders, from the base, from the undergrounds of this country, that day by day work as I do for our Venezuela, expressing their will to put my name constitutionally, waving the most simple and high values of the humankind, which I consider is a reward, a loving reward that I never wait for, but is filling me with the strength and life and energy and love to continue the fighting for our beloved homeland and for the future of us all. I just want to say with humility that I'm made from the same blessed mud than you. I'm made from the same blessed mud than you. And it was the people with the persistence, my intellectual master, my intellectual teacher, my guide, my physical and moral support, and my only existent reasons. Since then, when I was 12 years old, I started the militancy in the politics by myself. I received from you an evaluation from struggle that we are given. And I'm ready to tell you, men and women of barefoot, I love with infinite love this homeland. And I learned when I was a kid to grow the loyalty from the first hand and to protect and defend and respect in facing my own life if I had to. Today, I've come not only to inscribe my name, but to inscribe a dream of homeland. I came to invite you to keep dreaming and to keep transforming our reality, looking forward to the future. This is not an election for a color or a man or a name. We are choosing on the July 28th our right to the future, our right to existence, our right to the life and independency, and to have a homeland. Because us, we have a project for a country. Of course that we had. Because we have a plan. Is the result of years of experience from the hardest years and from a wide and permanent consultation and debate with our people. Them, the one with the last names, are crawling into the imperialism. All those lackeys from the far right are the anti-project. They don't have a national project to fulfill, but they have ambition, personal ambition, and economical interest that want to satisfy whatever it costs to maintain our homeland to the imperialism clause. They're proving it in every opportunity that they had of power in their hands. Remember, on 2015, the far right, the extreme far right from the last names, they deceived a portion of the people with the last line. Do you remember that? The hand of the last line. Do you remember? And then they let down and they deceive the ones that vote for them. And from the National Assembly, they add 5 years, they dedicate themselves to seek violence and civil war in the Guarimba, to ask for sanctions against the society and the economy, to ask for the blockade and the invasion of their own country. We'll never forget that. It's not allowed to forget. It was 5 years of destructions against the people, against the sovereignty, against the democracy. Them are the hopeless, the failed past, the nothing. And this has an evident explanation. The far right of the last name is a oligarchy and they're puppets. Because by time the far right, the last name ones is, but then a puppeteer or a puppet comes out, and then the last name and their puppets are not thinking about themselves. They're not acting by themselves. Are puzzles in a imperialism game from United States of America to get Venezuela, to get the America of Bolivar, our Latin America. Facing nothing from the last name, I'm sure that the rebirth of the national power will impose himself from our patriotic people. No one can achieve what is not dreaming. We say that on the National Assembly on January 5th. For us, the future is that possibility that is up to our own strength and our mind and effort and our hands, from ourselves, from yourself, women, from the will and the persistence that we have. That's why I accept being a candidate from the historical political coalition, from the biggest, the most colorful that ever was created in Venezuela. So I accept to, in front of the people, to go to the big transformations, to die together, to get together a new society, together. So in this time, I always remember our commander, Hugo Chavez, that December 6th in La Habana, in a room of the CIMEC and the hospital, Los Inés, Jorge Arriaza, that it must be over there. Jorge was the only witness of that conversation. Jorge Rodriguez, Delcy Rodriguez, Hector, Nico, comrades, conversations that were already held with the Commander Chavez, and I was prepared and warned, and I always remember that December 6th, during 6 hours, when he told me, Nicolás, if something happens to me now, it's your turn. And he went to say that to the people that day, in that night of tears and pain, but night of oath. I never doubt, never ask the reasons why he was putting so much responsibility in my shoulders. So I obeyed, and I obey now. That Chavez made people is the one who's telling me, carry on, Nicolás, move forward, Nicolás, that the time of the big transformation is just getting started. It's your turn now, Nicolás, alongside with the people, to follow the path of the big transformation built to the path of socialism, a Christian, Bolivarian, and more than ever, Chavista. I confess that since Chavez confined me with the destiny of the homeland, there's only a space in my mind for one idea: to fulfill the mission, to accomplish the mission, to protect the people. And there's only space in my heart for one feeling: absolute loyalty. Even with my life, it was necessary. Since then and until now, I haven't done anything else in my life that persevere with love, with all my strength and with all my intelligence, with all my wittedness, with all my stubbornness. A thing that can only do a Venezuela to fulfill their oath and to accomplish with the people and Chavez, to accomplish my destiny with this people. And how can I fulfill with a collective destiny? Always have clear that I must trust in you, men and women from barefoot, beautiful people. Only in you, comrades, from the path and battle, in the hardest moments, when we got to put ourselves in hard situation, the people told me, don't surrender, Nicolás. In the moments with the highest imperialism threat, with the magnitude attempts, the people told me, I stay with you, Nicolás, stay on, move forward. And every single victory, the people would tell me, carry on, Nicolás, strength, Nicolás. There was no moment that I wasn't feeling other than that certainty from being through the worst storms. The people always encourage me to renew everything with the same strength and the same passion. I looked forward to the future, and I see clearly the reward of our struggle and our sacrifice. But I see towards the past, and I feel that the years of battles that we've lived were a great school to learn from ourselves, the great and good that we are. Our truly identity of liberators. That's what I see in the past that we lived. All the analysis concludes in that the last decade was perhaps the hardest of the contemporary history. I don't deny all the rage of the historical enemy are being unleashed, the United States of America, but us that are being so resistant. It wasn't, we could say, years only from struggles. There were years of proofs being passed with tranquility and with peace. So we always have to remember calm and maximum union from all the sectors of the country, and knock out to oligarchy and to knock out to the last names and to imperialism, one over and over again. 17, 20, 21, 23, knockout with the strength, with the union, with the truth. I won't minimize that the last name fact is hitting harder to the homeland, but I will never like to measure the life by the size of the obstacles, but from the heroism of the acts that allow us to get through those. I must say, I never felt alone in any single battle. The people of Bolivar and Chavez always join me, as it proves today in this impressive stand that all the Bolivar Avenue and all the surrounded avenues are filling. So, if something stands of his time, not only is this the hardness or the sacrifice, but will be the magical quote that led us, Hugo Chavez, the unity, the struggle, and the battle, and most of all, the victory in any circumstances, as said, any circumstances that is must to live, unity, struggle, battle, and victory, always victory. So we are here, 5 generations from men and women that in perfect communion must hold the torch of the sacred fire coming from liberators. And in a special way, I want to recognize in every single generation, to every single man, to every single woman, their unbreakable commitment and their historical role played and that we're going to keep playing towards the future. To the status heroes from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, to the generation, the martyr generation that sacrificed himself to remember the people that you never are going to give up. So I'm honoring with glory to every single one of you. No, Maria Leon, Fernando Soto, that it was worth the fight. We forged ourselves from the soul and the seed from the rebellion and the strength. To the start of generation, we own this spirit, this prepared spirit to every single circumstance and all the fights. To the ones lucky enough to join the Commander Chavez from the start, Comrade Diosdado Cabello from the military academy, Comrade General Churio, Commander Reyes, I don't know if he is here in the hall, and every single one of us, Dr. Celia Flores, lawyer from the Patriotic Military. So the ones who were lucky enough to join the Chavez commander and their start, and we keep stubborn, faithful to his words and to his ideals and his legacy and his spirit, breaking the stigma of treason. I want to thank you for your perseverance and ability. There were a lot of mischiefs to divide us, but the revolutionary moral was higher. So the day that we started with the Commander Hugo Chavez from the People's Catacombs, tomorrow, March 26th, 30 years that we receive Chavez free in the streets of Caracas to go into the People's Catacombs to build this beautiful historical movement, this popular movement from the revolution, Bolivarian Revolution. To break with the stigma of treason, I want to thank you for your perseverance and nobility. Brothers and sisters from my generation, there was a lot of mischiefs to divide us, but the revolutionary moral was superior. The vital journey that we start with Chavez from the people's catacombs, from the origin of the Afro-Venezuelan people and Indian Venezuelan people, from the origin, Bolivarian origin, Samoan origin, is not over yet. Philip Varela, it's not over yet, comrades, with the Hipocaterra. Our task is pending, Bolivar. And now is when we have the strength. The foundational generation has the strength, the experience, the knowledge to fulfill the big goals of a big transformation in Venezuela and give us a big fight to the power to the people, the sovereign, all the power to the people. Also, the third generation is joining us. The golden generation, our beloved commander called it. The youth from the first, that it grows to defend the revolution from the fascism and the neo-Nazism, the far-right violent. It is in the heart of the Bolivarian socialism, so it can be proof the high level of consciousness that our people has. This generation rise fighting in the schools, in the university, in the neighborhoods, and a huge part of that generation is facing the important centers of powers. Comrades, I can visualize from the golden generation and her wife, artists both, from the youth, first actor and actress, not only from TV, first actors and actors not only by telenovelas but also from the history. To you, golden generation, Chavez received you, hugged you. You were formed by the commander Chavez with the certainty of authenticity of your leadership and the authenticity of your spirit. And I feel lucky to count with you, renewing and reinventing all the fighting methods and revolution to this golden generation, the third generation of the Bolivarian Revolution. And then the vanguard revolution, the young revolution, from the blockade and economical war times. We have felt several times the labor pains with this generation. This generation was born into the storms. It's the generation of storms. So that's why they are the generation of the first. Because they could step on that with only the strength of the... That's what I say. Because they are starting a new stage with you, with this generation, this young generation. It's starting a new time. the new of the Venezuela time, the positive from Venezuela time, the transition time to socialism belongs to you. If you are the bicentennial generation, you are really from the third tricentennial generation, the independency generation. So to you, we surrender our arms and we support you in the power. We give you the power, and we welcome you. From now, be prepared, because soon enough it will be your role. All the power to the youth, all the formation to the youth. I saw that the candidate Brito spoke more than me, and Bertuccio also, and Condor Guasha also. How many candidates have been inscribed? 9? Plus me. So we are 10 candidates with more than 35 political parties and movements. So far right, the July 28th, there are going to be elections with you or without you. Last name far right. We're going to go to the elections always with the people always. More than 35 political parties and 10 candidates so far. Maybe more. It's a full democracy. So I hope the F agency feels, because it hasn't covered any candidate, the AFP and AFP. But I'm telling you because you don't have moral. All the Western agency, or the far right agency, they don't have moral. They're clocking the Venezuela's reality, and they want to impose to Venezuela a scenario, and we're telling to the last names. Oligarchs, don't dress yourself because you're not going, because the one that goes to is the country. So I was asking permission also to drink some coconut water. Do you like coconut water? I like it too. It's the best energetic drink that there is. Coconut water. Because the 28th is the thing. And then in 5th place, we have the grade age from 12 to 20 years, staying in the schools, in the bench. Beautiful generation, a beautiful generation has bloomed. Is the stew from every is the harvest from every stew, from every struggle that makes us worth it. Commander Hugo Chavez, whatever you are, you sow in fertile mind, fertile heart. So there's a lot of kids in the street with their eyes seeing the present and the future of the revolution and the big transformations that are coming our way. It's the generation, the youngest generation. Only the bad times, the hard times, gives the chance for great and good women and men to be born. So you, genius generation, are the proof of it. So we can only wait a rebirth, a permanent rebirth from you. And from you, I can only thank to be here just now, just today as a certainty that these generations are prepared to fulfill the march and the path in the 21st century in revolution, in peace, with sovereignty, with independency, to build this prosperity, to build the happiness, the social happiness. 5 generations, only one path, only one government, only one plan, only one leadership, the Bolivar's root, the strength, the fertile strength of Chavez. Comrades, I have to tell you that with generosity from the streets and neighborhoods, from the community, have proposed me. You haven't proposed a man. You have inscribed and proposed a historical project. And I own my entire, to every single letter, to every single word, to the principles and objectives to this plan. From the 7T, the homeland plan of the big transformations, looking to the future and to the 2030, the homelands plan, renew into the heat of new times and new wills of you in more than 37,000 assemblies made to debate the proposal of this new historical moment. A vote is a consciousness and a feeling, but let's go to convince with arguments, with truth, and with feelings, deep feelings of homeland love to the Venezuelan people. And let's prepare to conquer with the reason and with the heart, always through the path of the revolution. So we can see the social communicators, YouTubers, influencers, TikTokers, Instagrammers, journalists, people that are making a communication with us is evident in the national country that only us, we have a project for a country that is clear and wide as the homeland plan from the 70. Only us are here building against every storm, changing methods and formulas, alongside with the people to fulfill the goals of equality and justice, with the economical recovery producing with the serenity and in national independency and the flourishing of our culture. Change and transform are being our permanent actions, facing strength to that seek us to stop the curse of history with violence, with lies, and to deny the progress that the Venezuela has the right to get. My candidacy is the candidacy from a homeland idea that we have to defend with humble and love in every country. From the debate of the 70 will emerge the great objectives and tactical goals, the concrete agendas of actions by every single T transformations that we have defined as the big transformations of Venezuela. 1, the immediate present that demands from us to improve the life conditions of our people, that is from the most concrete of the daily life to the most abstract, must have a response of the issues. By the second, the medium future. We must always to get the agendas for further than the actual situation. What we do immediately must respond to the strategy to solve progressively the issues of our people in a structural way. With the 17, we must to go on today more than ever. More than 2,005,000 of denouncements that are being taken care of with the bricomiles and with education and health and culture, and with wonderful thing, the great missions of new generation, the great mission Women Venezuela and Youth Venezuela to attend the needs of two of the most beaten sectors of the economy, the big mission equality to go and so the injuries of the war, the big missions Alive Venezuela, from the feeling, from identity that almost 300,000 members. And I announced today that in 15 days we're going to launch a new big mission to attend to our generation, to the generation, the starter generation, the founder generation, and it's going to be the great generation, grandmothers and grandfathers from the homeland, for the elderly, to give an integral attention to them, a real hug, the big mission, grandmothers and grandfathers from the homeland. On a transformative agenda from all the model and to build viable alternatives. The third level, the future, 2030. We have to have clear our historical role to move forward to the big objective to turn Venezuela into a potency. I'm from Latin America, the Caribbean, that makes a country an unbreakable and a prosperous country filled with kindness and happiness and harmony. I have with me the work made by you, more than 63,000 proposals, assemblies, more than 2,800,000 volunteers from this plan. It isn't made by the last name law firms or assessors from the imperialism. This plan is the perfect union between the 5 objectives written by the commander Chavez and the 7 proposals written by hand by the people of Venezuela. This plan, 2025-2031, and I swear that I will carry on and I will fulfill it and will make our Venezuela, God bless us, with the almighty benediction, a prosperous homeland of equality, well-being, and happiness. So I swear to this homeland, to this people, long live Chavez, long live the people, long live the victory of the 28th of July victory. And I surrender this plan, this perfectly made plan built in base of reality, absolutely according to the Venezuelan with the socialist dreams, to the president of the National Electoral Council. The people has a plan. The people has a strength. The people has power, and the people has a candidate, Nicolás Maduro, the son of Chavez. Love from the homeland, Maduro.
Escuchar palabras del presidente Nicolás Maduro Moros ha dicho, el pueblo tiene un plan, el pueblo tiene un candidato y precisamente en este momento consigna su plan de gobierno ante la Junta Nacional Electoral para el periodo 2025-2030. Destacó que casi 5 millones de hombres y mujeres de esta tierra dieron sus razones para postularlo en más de 417.000 asambleas del poder popular que se realizaron en el país. Expresó su profundo amor por la patria y el compromiso de defenderla hasta con su vida si fuese necesario. Afirmó que su inscripción es también una invitación para seguir soñando con el futuro, es defender el derecho a la vida, a la soberanía, a la paz y a la patria. El candidato de la esperanza destacó que la revolución bolivariana tiene un plan de gobierno que fue consultado y debatido por el pueblo.
And with these words, the President Nicolás Maduro officializes his candidacy for the upcoming July 28th with the presentation of the necessary documents and with his delivering to the President of the National Electoral Council the documents of his government plan. Let's listen to the words of the President of the National Electoral Council.
Thank you to the candidacy citizen Nicolás Maduro and all the ones that are joining us. And before we will want to remember you that it is open, the registry, the electoral registry until the April 16th, so you can use full campaigns facing to his friends and followers, so it can be more. The ones that are not being inscribed get the opportunity to do it, so to fulfill and participate in this appointment of the July 28th. Don't wait until the closure of the Electoral Council. It is open for you. All the Venezuelans are invited to participate in this electoral party that today gets the participation of the organism with political outcomes to present their candidacy. Thank you very much to every single one of you to be here in the National Electoral Council with the electoral power, with the powers established by the homeland and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and with no doubt where it exists the best system of elections of the world. Thank you very much.
And in the words of the And in the words of the President of the National Electoral Council, Luis Amoroso, he informed that the moment of the registration of the candidate has come to an end today, but called on citizens to start updating the electoral roll as the registry for citizens, for voters that will be eligible to take part in the election on July 28th will be until April 16, and he called on them to participate and don't wait for the last minute to update if they change their residency by information, and assure that the election will be held in the best electoral system in the world. Before, as President Nicolás Maduro was presenting his government plan, he spoke of the objective that they would have for the present and the future of the country if he were to be elected. He presented in what has been known for now as the Great Transformation for the Future, also known in Venezuela as the 70s, plans for the great transformations that the country needs to implement to face the current challenges and to improve the welfare of the people and continue working on the Bolivarian Revolution's objectives. Before presenting his government, Diosdado Cabello presented the official documents and signed the documents for the candidacy and affirmed that over 300,000 assemblies were held so that the people, the grassroots from the United Socialist Party of Venezuela presented Nicolás Maduro as the only candidate and proposed all the reasons why it has been working over the past years to make sure that the country will be able to come afloat despite all the sanctions, all the blockades that have been imposed against the country. And through all these storms, under Nicolás Maduro's administration, the nation has been able to sail to a safe harbor to it is today with the greater production and the recovery of the economy, which is also part of the great plans that Nicolás Maduro is implementing for the upcoming presidential term, if he were to be elected in the upcoming elections on July 28th, which is to complete the economic recovery of the country following these harsh sanctions that were imposed against Venezuela by the U.S. and their allies. Nicolás Maduro sent a clear message to the so-called apellidos, as they say in Spanish in Venezuela, which are the far-right elites, the traditional far-right elites that have, through all these years, tried to impose their imperialist puppet government as a way, because they answer to the interests of the United States and their policies for the region. And he sent a clear message to these people that they will not succeed in Venezuela, because Venezuela is a country that has come united for today, with the people together, as has been shown in the images that we're seeing right now, how the people have come together on the streets to support the candidacy of President Nicolás Maduro, as they have joined here from all corners of the country, not only from the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, but from all different social movements and organizations that back the Socialist Party, the Grand Patriotic Pole, which is comprised by different political organizations as well, that back Nicolás Maduro, as they see him as the sole candidate that can truly bring Venezuela to the top of the economic chain in the region and in the world, to bring them back to the situation. These are beautiful images that we're getting from Caracas, as the people, alongside their presidential candidate for the July 28th election, celebrate the official nomination, the official candidacy, registration of the candidacy for president in Venezuela for the upcoming election. Maduro, in his speech, announced a new mission that has been called the missions of the new generation for the upcoming term, which today there are already two in motion, which is the Grand Mission of Youth and Grand Mission of Women, which try to take care and attend to the needs of these two sectors, women and youth, that are one of the hardest hit by the sanctions. And Maduro announced for the upcoming time the Grand Mission of the Elderly of the Homeland, which will be dedicated to attend to the needs of that elderly generation which has fought through all this year, and all the elderlies in Venezuela, to provide them with a better welfare and better retirement opportunities, so that they can better live the last years after hard work life. Images that we're getting live from Caracas as Nicolás Maduro leaves the National Electoral Council after formalizing his candidacy for the presidential election on July 28th. We continue listening to the music and the parties and the celebration, which is what defines Venezuela's electoral campaigns: a joy of democracy, a party of democracy. Let's listen to the music and joy that is being experienced. With the song singing "With Maduro, Venezuela surely wins," the Venezuelan president came out to greet all those that have joined him here in the National Electoral Council to support his candidacy for the July 28th presidential election. Maduro has defined himself not as a man or a candidate in this election. He's the embodiment of the people, as he said it, that the people of Venezuela did not propose a man with just a name, but the will of the people, which will be represented on the July 28th elections. President Maduro, in his speech before delivering his government plan, said that they were the only ones that had a clear plan of action to face the current challenges and the future challenges that are very likely to arise in the coming years for Venezuela and the region and the world. They have a clear strategy in all different aspects of society to tackle all the challenges that have been faced today, which primarily right now is the economy, which Venezuela has been working very hard to recover after being hit by the hardest sanctions by the U.S. empire and their allies that crippled the economy, and they believe it will be a way to submit the Venezuelan people. But despite all this, through the management of the government by Nicolás Maduro and the alternative and measures that have been implemented over time during these past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, the economy has been able to refloat, and little by little has been recovered, and Venezuela today is showing one of the best economic standards and points since before the sanctions, since before it lost over 98% of its income by oil by all those sanctions that were imposed by the US. So these are images of celebrations of joy that we're seeing live from Caracas in front of the National Electoral Council, as together with the people, Maduro celebrates the candidacy and the party of democracy before the upcoming presidential elections of July 28th, which is what Maduro has said, that is not one person and that he has never felt alone during all these years of struggle, because he's always been accompanied by that people that supported before Chavez and now support him in this struggle for Venezuela to become a power in Latin America and the world that is able to provide the best possible living condition for its people from all sectors and walk of life.
¡Que viva el pueblo venezolano! ¡Que viva nuestro candidato Nicolás Maduro! Vamos a dar un aplauso, una bulla, que se siente una bulla, una bulla, una bulla, una bulla revolucionaria. ¡Arriba las banderas! ¡Arriba los gritos de júbilo! Porque ahora tenemos a nuestro candidato Nicolás Maduro, emulando las palabras de nuestro presidente, de la historia, del hilo histórico que nos han acompañado durante todas estas eras de lucha. Queremos hoy emular lo que ha sido la explicación muy clara de la fuerza histórica de nuestro pueblo durante cada década, durante cada año. Por eso vamos a presentar por la generación precursora al compatriota guerrillero, diputado Fernando Soto Rojas.
From Caracas, as the people join Maduro for celebrating his candidacy for the upcoming July 28th election. Moment of joy and celebration as the candidate of the people, as he called himself, has come here. And as we have seen in the images that the people have come out to support him, we're seeing Diosdado Cabello speaking. Let's listen to what he's speaking, addressing to all that have gathered here to support Maduro.
We're celebrating people's candidacy from the comrade Nicolás Maduro Moro. From the young stage of the Nicolás started with an honorable family from his
circunstancias de hoy han cambiado. Tenemos a un compatriota valiente, justo,
fair, with consistency and with perseverance, that is taken with consciousness the Bolivarian flag of a liberator, the legacy of the strategy from Commander Chavez, and the strategy from the struggle of the whole people, and the people that is making let's go into fight, a decisive fight from the horizon 2024, 2030, 2050. The 7 strategical lines are being made as a people, as a worker class, as a revolution from Venezuela. The truth is that opposition, the different opposition doesn't have a project, doesn't have a strategy in alternative to the Bolivarian project. From the historical duty, from the capitalism and its structural crisis, they are offering the darkness. Today, President Nicolás Maduro have made a great intervention and command us the path to follow. And now it's our turn as a generation, the generation of always the one who persevered, to support him, because we have to take care of the president Nicolás Maduro, a victorious president that conquer the Trump administration and defeat the administration of Biden. We have to be focused in this campaign. This has to be a creative campaign, an organizative campaign. We have to create history. That Nicolás Maduro has to be strong. Everyone has to go to the polls. No one has to stay home without voting. The homeland needs it. Always with you. Let's applaud him. The starter generation, Fernando Sosa, the brave men of always, sons and daughters of this homeland, the loyalty to the people, the struggle to the people. Now let's give the stand to the second generation, the national generation, and from the people, let's receive to the General Jesus Suarez Rubio. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, Commander. Good afternoon, First Comedian. Good afternoon, the ones who are seeing, and good afternoon to the world. Commander-in-Chief, country of Venezuela, people of Caracas, I want to call the presence of our Supreme Commander here. I want to call the presence of our inspirator leader to keep on leading us on this life mission that is our turn to carry on alongside these glorious people. Chavez live. Let's repeat it because it's not getting it. Chavez lives. Today, full as the full moon, like the radiant sun, we invoke from our generations the spirit of our commander. And why are we invoking him? We invoke him because we want to keep in unity. We want to bring this compromise of the generation to tell to you that you're going to be the candidate of the glorious and victorious of the 28th of July. We must to give us a present on the 70 years to our commander, Supreme Commander Hugo Chavez, the victory of the revolution, Bolivarian Revolution, with the victory of the Chavez son, Nicolás, And why Nicolás? Simply because it's a man like us. It's a man of people. It's a man of the homeland. It's a man courageous and heroical. It's a man worthy that hasn't kneeled and it won't kneel upon any empire. He will never negotiate with these entities that are traitors, with the last name traitors. I want to live in the collective image this. You in January and Stratus in the 7 transformations. Those 7 transformations are carried out to the whole extension of the country with more than 63,000 assemblies. The people speaking from the best ways, like the community councils and the community strategies with the 58 social movements, but also from any forms or organization that the revolution has. And there, our commander gave all the power to the people, thinking about the future, seeking the minds in the future. The Venezuelan potency, the Venezuela that we want to build to the 2030. Let's read the Venezuela of 2050, free and independent and sovereign. That's the most important of this encounter. When we make the inscription of our candidate, I want to give in the collective ideal 2 thoughts of the homeland father to follow this new path, this new battle. The first one, a being, the first oath, unity, unity, unity. Our father, the liberator from Jamaica, to build the people, to have nation. And that unity, it must to round towards Nicolás and towards the homeland to obtain the victory. Because Nicolás, it is the champion, the world war champion from peace. It's the champion of voice. It's the champion of dignity. It's the world war champion of protection. So, Nicolás, our people, it doesn't have another choice that scream out loud. Long live Nicolás! Long live Nicolás! Long live Nicolás! Long live the homeland! Chavez is alive alongside with Nicolás, and we will conquer on the July 28th, Commander. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Long live the people's strength. Long live the United Socialist Party of Venezuela. Long live the big patriotic coalition. Long live the big volunteer for the future movement. Long live the people's candidate. What's the name of the people's candidate? How? Let's hear that. So here we are, ready to go, to conquer the battles for the future. I'm not the candidate, no. The candidate is you yourself, comrade, Venezuelan and women, you are the candidate, Venezuelan young men, you are the candidate, students, is you workers, the candidate here is the Venezuelan people. On his behalf and on the name, I'm going to conquer with the strength and their power. Every single one of you has joined me in these years, in these hard times. When Chavez said me, we were with tears, and we said, Chavez, I swear to you, my vote is going to be for Maduro, and we won. And they couldn't defeat us. And then we slept. And 2015, they took a portion of the people. And they got all the country filled with lines. Do you remember? And they say that if you were voting for the last time, that will going to be the last line. Do you remember? And they won, and the people lose. Because when they won, the people lose. Because they are not the people. They are the oligarchy. They are the anti-homeland. And what do they do? In 5 years, with the National Assembly, they help the people. They protect the elder. They protect the health. They ask for sanctions. They call Guarimba. They train the invasion. And I say to the people, they mischief to the people, as the candidates say. They mock from the people. And they say on the 2016, Maduro is going to go away in 3 months. Do you remember? And we went in 3 months. Maduro is going to go this year. But they did it on the 2016. And then they went to the Guarimba. Do you remember of the Guarimbas? They suffer with the Guarimba. We suffer with the Guarimbas. But I went out to the streets with the Constitution in my hand, and I tell you, let's go to the Constitutive because of the peace. And we went and we won again. And we won more. And we won peace. Then they treat to murder me in the 2018. And God put a hand. Our Creator, God Father Almighty, and the Virgin of Jichinita put the hand on it, and we carry on. In 2019, do you remember? They say the president, it was Guaidó, and Guaidó could conquer the people. But we won in the 2019, in the 2020, in the 2021, and the 2022. In the 23. And then on July 28th, I'm swearing to you, on my mom's and dad and the Holy Trinity, that on July 28th, and the 70th anniversary of the birth of our commander Chavez, we're going to beat again to the last name, to the oligarchy and all of the puppets. Because the people that God gets together, it cannot be defeated. This is not a subject from a single man. It is a subject from a historical project. We are the incarnation of this land. We are the incarnations of the first inhabitants. We are carrying in ourselves the cause of Bolivar. From Sucre, from Rafael Urbaneta. There's not a man. You are. It is a people. And you're never letting me down. And I will never fail you. And I will never leave you alone. I will never leave you alone. Those are the paths that we've been through. Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful. Look who's arrived over there. Look who's arrived over here. The people's candidacy. Bolivar and Chavez among us. Who can be against us with them in our favor? Bolivar and Chavez are present. With the protege flag of our homeland. I just surrendered a plan. Let's go over here because the sun is still radiant over here. Let's long live the sun. There is emotion over here. The big mission, long life Venezuela. Here we are with our plan. Here we are with the plan of big transformations for Venezuela, that Venezuela needs to build the future. But when we're talking about the future, but we're talking about independent, sovereign, and free future, no longer slave of any empire, any oligarchy. So this is the plan. This is the people's plan. And I am the people's candidate. I'm your candidate. Let's go with the plan of the homeland. From the 70. Let's go to make a campaign out of it. You know that us, let's speak over here. For us, the electoral campaign is a party. The electoral campaign from us is a party. Do you want the electoral campaign to be a party? From chants and rhythm and dance and joy and happiness and seeking to the future. So, I decree the parties from the Homeland Electoral Campaign to fight against the last name and the oligarchies and the imperialism. Long live the elderly.
Miren, Gilita, acompáñame.
Join me,
Tengo algo bello
because I have something beautiful
que me trae grandes recuerdos
that brings me a lot of
cuando
memories than when in 2013 we launched to the streets,
especialmente
and invite especially to the two young people that they were kids at that time.
yo quiero que le dediquen una canción.
I want you to dedicate a song to our people. 11 years ago, you were a kid,
Se vinieron a la campaña
and you came to the campaign with us,
y nos llenaron de sentimiento
and you fill us with
y amor.
love.
Y yo los invité hoy
And I invite you over here
especial.
in a special way. So carry on, Lucia, and carry on, Rodrigo.
Venezuela no se rinde, no se rodilla ni doblega, porque nuestro presidente nos defiende donde sea.
Ha entregado cada día de su vida por el pueblo, del oriente hasta occidente, de los llanos hasta el centro.
Un hombre comprometido, nuestro presidente obrero, un hombre que es de los nuestros, siempre para defendernos. Venezuela, alza tu bandera, luchando sin miedo, todos por el pueblo, la esperanza en la calle, junto al presidente Nicolás Maduro. Venezuela, alza tu bandera, luchando sin miedo, todos por el pueblo, la esperanza en la calle, junto al presidente Nicolás Maduro, nuestro presidente Maduro. Venezuela, juntos con Maduro.
Vamos a ratificarlo con el voto de confianza, que no sea defraudado, nuestro presidente avanza.
Los caminos seguros del amor y la esperanza, la felicidad del pueblo y a los niños la enseñanza.
Un hombre comprometido, nuestro presidente obrero,
Un hombre que es de los nuestros, siempre para defendernos. Venezuela, alza tu bandera, luchando sin miedo, todos por el pueblo, la esperanza en la calle, junto al presidente Nicolás Maduro. Otra vez, Venezuela, alza tu bandera, luchando sin miedo, todos por el pueblo, la esperanza en la calle, junto al presidente Nicolás Maduro, nuestro presidente Maduro. ¡Y que viva Venezuela!
Presidente, Dios me lo bendiga. ¿Cómo ha estado? ¿Cómo ha estado? Cuénteme.
Estos dos niños los conocimos
These
antes.
two kids, we know it 11 years ago. Look how big and how beautiful are. Let's give a strong applause to them. You look like handsome too.
Dos valores jóvenes
Two young values
para seguir
to continue
en este camino
in this path
lleno de hermosura.
filled of
¿Le gustó
beauty.
la idea de las fiestas patronales?
Do you like the idea of the
Vamos a
parties?
patronales. ¿A quién le vamos a tronar?
So we are going to break to the last names.
Patronales.
Let's record a video to the media every time that I say to the last names, you say employer, to the oligarchy, to the last names, to the puppets of the last name, to the imperialism. Because the hope is in the streets. Tomorrow, when you wake up, or today at night, light a candle and raise a prayer, because tomorrow 30 years are celebrated of the liberation of our commander Hugo Chavez from the jail. 30 years that we put this flyer. 30 years ago, Chavez came out and we said the hope is on the streets. And Chavez was asked, Commander, where are you going? What are you going to do? And Chavez said, I'm going to the catacombs from the people, and from the catacombs to Miraflores. And it was like that. And 30 years later, I've been loyal with you and with Chavez. I brought the peace to Venezuela. I bring the economical recovery with my efforts, and we want to build the equality and the happiness because of the 30 years of work. We say the hope is on the street, the people is on the streets. We are in the streets. This struggle, I haven't fight this battle alone, Celita. This battle of these hard years. You know, you remember these years, right? It's forbidden to forget who asked for the sanctions. Who asked for the Venezuela's invasion? Who attempted a coup d'etat once and another? Who tried to kill me? I heard today was captured today 2 men with weapons that were trying to attempt against my life. They all declared and they form the part of the far-right party, the fascist party in Venezuela. They are in prison and they were captured here in the procession. But they couldn't, and they will not surrender us. With the Holy Trinity in front of us, we always conquer. But there is a woman, leading, brave, with own criteria, that 30 years ago we met each other. We got together, and it's been next to me. Since the March 10 of 2013 with my first candidacy, I said, Celia, you're going to be the vice president, and you screamed, yes, but you're not going to be a first lady a traditional one. From this now forward, you're going to be the first commander of the women of this country. And that's what Celia's been. And I want to ask you, Celia, we've been through these hard years always united. How are you preparing for these battles that we're going to fight? How are you feeling the struggle? How are you feeling the people? With you, my wife, the first comrade of the country, Celia Flores. President, I want to greet these people that we have seen today with the sun. But these people always has been here, and as it did with Chavez. And these people can be certain that how Nicolás Maduro and we were always with loyalty together alongside with Chavez through his path. Today, Nicolás, with the Chavez legacy, keeps on being in the track of Chavez, and I keep together and alongside with Nicolás and always being next to him, joining him, supporting him. We've been listening to the people marching, exposing the reasons why Nicolás, and all of those reasons brought me back, and I was living again those episodes. I know Nicolás. I live with him night and day, and as they say now, 24/7, we are together. And I know that everything that people said is completely sure, is truth. The people knows it. The people knows Nicolás Maduro because of his facts, because of his works, because of his fruits, as the Bible says, because of his acts and fruits, you will know them. And that's why these people knows Nicolás Maduro and knows that always been here protecting the people. And also these people knows the wicked and knows that for his acts and his work and his fruit there will be knowledge too. And these people knows the facing the badness of these people of the last names and the oligarchy always withstand a president with a protector president next to the people, next to the women, next to the humble, next to the youth, next to the kids. And that's why, President, that I know you, that I trust you like the people does, that I know about your bravery and your courage and your intelligence. I know that Nicolás will carry on this homeland to a safe harbor. The homeland won't be lost, and we're going to go into the prosperity path. We're going to, the people, it will be next to you. You're not going to be alone. And I, as your wife, I will be next to you, supporting all the women of the homeland, supporting to the children, to the kids and sons and daughters, supporting the elderly, the grandmothers, the grandfathers. We'll be next also alongside to the people, defending the precious gift of the dignity. The worldwide countries are looking at us because these people has stand tall, no bending, united, and we will continue like the president. We should keep united, defending the homeland, our independency, our sovereignty. And as I say this in this sign, and I listened from the people, Maduro, love from the homeland and love of mine. Long live to the Venezuelan women. Long live the love. We are the love, the joy, the life in this fight against the wicked and the hatred of the oligarchy. We are the love, the homeland and the life. And we will continue. Be certain of that. That as we are in 31 elections, we won 29. The 28th of July will be the number 30 elections that the revolution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela will won. And I remember a song that led us in 2002, 2003, 2004, 20 years ago, and led us to the victory from the referendum. Do you remember that in 2004? The song that raised the deepest fiber of our emotions, because it's when the people go out to the streets. And I will give you as a present this song as one of the commands of this from here to the July 28th, to organize, to prepare the 1 out of 10, because the people is going to conquer. And they went down, and they went down. Long live the homeland.
Sí, estamos en tiempo de victoria y el pueblo debe bajar a las calles a dar su batalla para volver a ganar. Y bajaron, y bajaron, y bajaron. Y bajaron, porque debe a su pueblo. No más daño ni bloqueo, hoy sigue bajando, cerrando el futuro. Pues toda la vuelta y cuando son el más duro. Y bajaron, porque le duele a su pueblo. No más daño ni bloqueo, hoy sigue bajando, cerrando el futuro. Pues toda la vuelta y a votar por Maduro. Rico no se va.
Se puso el morral, con fuerza interior, convicción y moral. Si lo bloquean, vuelve a bajar. Si le cierran la puerta, vuelve a bajar. Un amor derrotando la adversidad. El niño, la madre, la tercera edad. Mi gente en el barrio le sobra bondad. La gente en el pueblo quiere trabajar. Sacar este país adelante a Nicolás. Lo eligió el comandante y bajará. Mucha más gente que antes bajará. Ahora más gente que antes. ¡Grítalo! Y bajaron, porque duele a su pueblo. Y bajaron, no más acción ni bloqueo. Hoy siguen bajando, sembrando el futuro. Pues no para la vuelta, va a votar por Maduro. Va a sacar este país adelante a Nicolás. Lo eligió el comandante y bajará. Mucha más gente que antes bajará. Y bajaron. Los que quieran patria, entran conmigo. Estamos en tiempo de victoria y el pueblo debe bajar a las calles a dar su batalla para volver a ganar. Y bajaron, y bajaron, y bajaron. Y bajaron, porque duele a su pueblo. Y bajaron, no más daño ni bloqueo. Hoy sigue bajando, cerrando el futuro. Pues toma la vuelta cuando juegue más duro. Y bajaron, porque le duele a su pueblo. Y bajaron, no sobreabundante.